Well, good morning, afternoon, and good evening, everyone. Today, we are pleased to present our monthly update about all the new innovations and capabilities coming to market. Today's topic is Webex for Inclusive Collaboration, our March feature and product updates for all the new Webex. I'm your host, Joe Wachna. I'd like you to welcome our speaker today, Mr. Scott Edwards. Scott is the Senior Director of Solutions Marketing within the Cisco Webex marketing team. His charge is to help organizations successfully navigate the workplace transformation trends of seamless, anytime, anywhere collaboration so teams can work smarter, faster, and better. Scott's nearly 20-year career has spanned both hardware and software product lines, startups to large enterprise teams, product marketing to business development, with his past 2 to 3 years at Cisco. So now, without further ado, here is Scott to kick off Webex for Inclusive Collaboration, our March feature and product update for the all-new Webex.
Awesome. Thank you, Joe. And we welcome again all of you into our now regular monthly update that we provide in this webinar. And we are excited to bring you the news from this morning of our Webex launch announcement and all the great rich elements that we are bringing to market. So Joe, thank you. And I'm excited to be here. So let's go ahead and get started with this. And I want to set this off because, as we look back, hey, it's March 2021. It's now been a year since the world completely, fundamentally changed. Nearly, it seemed like in a single day. And the way we work completely changed as we had a pivot. So many of us who were in the non-essential workforce had a pivot to this new concept of remote work. And, we've been doing that now for a year. Some of us have started a little bit to come back into an office setting. Others are still working remotely. Some are trying some different things here and there. But there's some interesting things that we learned, right? First, we learned that remote work, it's possible. I actually have worked remotely for a number of years. So for me, this wasn't a totally new thing. But for so many people, this was completely new, and there had to be a process of going about understanding how this could be done. We learned that it's not only possible, people are being productive. We're seeing some interesting survey results that show that people can be productive and are productive when working at home. And that's awesome, and that's great. But we've also learned that not all work from home solutions are perfect, right? It was never meant to be something that was going to happen to 100% of the workforce at 100% of the time. There were definitely and are definitely challenges associated with that working from home, and it just kind of depends on the individual and the living circumstances and what works best for who, right? But we also learned that in this process, as video became the primary interface to how we worked, video fatigue in a lot of ways became real, especially if there wasn't a real investment to ensure that these employees could be able to be on video so many hours of the day without having, this fatigue, this bent over cramming at some laptop screen, bad audio, bad video, bad networking connections. What was my environment like in the background, right? If there were a number of different noises or distracted background environment. How did we deal with that? And so that became a challenge as well. And so as we look at this year that's behind us, and we look at what's next in the coming year, we really are about to embark on something that is going to fundamentally change the way that we work. And it's this new thing that's going to happen as a return to an office setting. We know that it isn't going to be 100% or perhaps 90 or 80 or 70%, or who knows what it's going to be like for different organizations. But there will be in some way, shape, or form a return back to an office setting. But in those offices, because now we know that remote work is very possible, it's productive, there is what's going to be this rise of the flexible or remote worker. This is going to continue. And what that means is that there is going to have to be this ability to collaborate and communicate with people, not, in a very seamless way, not when they're not right in front of us, right? Where we're not actually communicating and talking face to face, or we can walk up to someone and have a quick conversation. That is going to fundamentally change. And this whole new world of hybrid work is going to happen. It's going to be here, and it's going to be here to stay for the long run. And I think it's going to fundamentally change how we work. And so as we look at this and how we go about this, one of the things that we totally understand and we see as this massive thing is we have to understand how we work better in this hybrid model to ensure that everyone is included in the way that we work, that everyone has a voice, that everyone feels and appears professional, no matter where they may be joining from in a specific meeting, or even before or after those meetings take place, that they can communicate and continue to have those conversations. This new concept of inclusivity becomes even more important in this new hybrid world of work that we are in, and it's something that we feel very strongly about at Cisco. We need to do all that we can with our Webex technology and portfolio to empower these inclusive collaboration experiences. Now, again, if you've been with us before, you've heard us talk about these 4 fundamental pillars that we focus on from a development perspective and technology perspective of what we hope to enable, all kind of building around these 10x better experiences than in-person interactions, but enabling that inclusive approach as well. So the first around seamless collaboration. This is what we call a core pillar for us as we look to empower these remote workers and enable that secure remote environment as well. The second being smart hybrid work experiences. So again, remote, but also looking back into the office and anywhere in between. And we want to ensure that when that return back to an office begins to happen, that it is a safe experience, that it is a smart experience, which we talk to so much about, and ensure that everything runs smoothly as people interact in an office setting, also with people outside of that office setting. The third one is around our intelligent customer experiences. This is critical and this is key. As more and more our customers that we interact with expect a digital connection and communication with the businesses that they interact with, right? And ensuring that we have complete visibility into that customer chain of events where they interact with the business. And then lastly, this is around making sure that there is that IT can help manage all of this, right? And to be able to do this with a platform that is secure, that is in a sense scalable, to bring in this whole environment and to make IT work seamlessly and make IT hum. So those are our key components and our core pillars of things that we do and we focus on. And we're today going to phrase all the different elements of what we are bringing to market with our March launch within these realms of these 4 pillars. So let's get into it first with seamless collaboration. There's a few different things we're going to talk about. Real-time translations, which is extremely exciting, where this is probably, this is the headline, I would say, of the launch. And then we're going to go into some of the different things around some of the new elements of Webex. We'll talk about hybrid calling and some of the advanced calling features as well. And so let's start with real-time translation. Now, one of the things that we did is we commissioned a research study with Metrigy to look at and understand what the business value is from these virtual assistants and from the AI that's part of the technology that is in things like Webex, right? To understand how this helps organizations, how this helps individuals become more efficient in the way that they work. Some interesting findings from this Metrigy report is that by using AI or these virtual assistants, there could be upwards of 10 to 18 minutes of time that is saved in scheduling, in task and management and action item capturing and note taking per meeting. That is huge efficiency gains and time saving that these virtual assistants can provide. Here's another interesting one, right? So when we talk about this element of inclusivity and how organizations, or I should say how individuals would like to participate in those meetings, a lot of people want to be able to be an active participant in the language, in their native language, right? And the language of their choice. And so they're spending on some type of, translation software, an average of $172 per meeting, right? Per language. I should say that most likely the company is spending that, right? That adds up dramatically over time, as especially in global environments or where you're going to have a lot of different meetings as well. So there needs to be a way to improve that, and so this increase of and use of AI and these virtual assistants is becoming absolutely key and critical for cost savings and for efficiency as well. So if you saw the press release or read the blog this morning, the headline of this announcement for our March announcement is this concept of real-time translations. And really, this hits right to the core of what we talked about before, making sure that everyone feels and is included into the meetings that they join. Now, we've had the ability to do real-time transcription and closed captioning of the English language in meetings. We've had that now for a number of months. And what we're doing now is we're expanding that. Back in December, we announced that this was coming to the market. We announced that there was going to be 10 languages. We've dramatically blown past that by introducing over 100 languages. I think it's actually 108 languages where English can be transcribed or translated into those different languages as part of the bottom closed captioning at the bottom of the screen. All the way from Afrikaans to Zulu, the languages that are supported. Again, it's English to 108 different languages. And so the attendees can then decide to select whatever language they feel is going to be most important for them to be able to consume the meeting in. And so that is going to be available. And what we're announcing is that in March, this is going to be a public preview. And so what that means is that you can come to webex.com here in the next few days. This is part of our March announcement, and be able to sign up for a preview and usage of this technology. We think this is a huge Cisco advantage. So we encourage you to watch for this and to sign up to participate in this public preview. Again, watch for that coming available on webex.com in the coming days of where you can sign up, and for enterprise accounts, they can work with their sales reps as well. Now that's phase one of English into all these different languages. Phase two is going to be even better because there's going to be over 70 different languages that can be spoken, and then that translation happens into other languages as well. So not just English to another language, but other languages to other languages. Again, that's phase two. That's coming later. That's not part of the March preview. This will go GA in the early summer when this will actually be part of the product. And the great thing about this is we continue, as this is used, this continues to get better and better and better. So this is fantastic. We're very excited to bring this to market. And shortly, in just a minute, we're going to actually show you a demo of how this works in the Webex app. But before we go into that, I just want to also just highlight another feature that's coming in March in the Webex app, and that is in-meeting Q&A. So here we are in Webex events, and what you can do and what you can see, and hopefully some of you can see this and are asking questions right now, is you have the Q&A panel that's on the side. And what that means is that people can ask questions during that event, and the host or co-host can answer those questions. That capability and that functionality is now part of any Webex meeting that you have, not just events or in training, but any Webex meeting. So that functionality will be part of that, and is now standard. That's going to go along also with some of the other elements that we've highlighted and talked about with the acquisition of Slido, which hasn't happened yet, but you'll see that these functionalities and this greater interaction happening more and more in Webex. All right, So as I mentioned, what we wanted to do is highlight and show this demo of real-time translation. And so with that, Joe, I think we're going to turn it over to Claire now to be able to share that with us.
Yep, I'm ready to go. Everyone can hear me okay, I'm sure. Just let me know if you see my mouth moving and nothing's coming out. So
Everything's good.
Yep, perfect. Okay. I want to thank you guys for having me today. I'm always really excited about new WebEx features, but I get even more excited when I get to actually show them to people. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we just learned about first, and that is your real-time translation. So you'll see here, I actually have another meeting running in conjunction with this one. And you can see my real-time translation happening right here. So I just want to go ahead and take your attention here to the very bottom left corner, and this is where I or any attendee, so if I'm not speaking in their preferred or native language, they can also do the same thing. So let's say I would find it easier to listen to whatever's being said in Spanish. I can either scroll through and search, but I can also just type in here, Spanish, select it, and now everything's going to change. So if you take a look at the captioning window, it all looks a little bit different now. So it's as easy as that. And as I mentioned, and as Scott mentioned as well, anybody can go ahead and do this in the meeting. The other thing I want to go ahead and point out is the actual caption window itself. I like to play around with things a little bit. I love the dark mode here in WebEx, but sometimes seeing things are a little bit difficult for me. And at my age, actually reading things get a little bit difficult as well. So I'm just going to come over here. You're going to see my cursor sort of circling around over on the right side of this caption window. I'm going to click on these three dots and I can change the font size a little bit. So this is something I sometimes need to do depending on the time of day or whether I found my glasses or not. And you can also switch this over to have a lighter background if you need it to stand out a little bit. And again, this is something that I can do or any of my attendees can do as well. So there you have it. That is your real-time translation. The other thing that was mentioned is we do have the Q&A panel here in meetings. So for those of you that are using WebEx events, you're probably already pretty used to using this QA panel. But what we've done for March is we've brought it here into a WebEx meeting. For those of you that are pretty new to the QA panel, maybe you haven't used it before, in a WebEx meeting, any co-host can attach answers to questions. The benefit of the Q&A panel is it's threaded. So as questions come in, we can go ahead and we can attach our answer to the question. So you'll go ahead and see me answer that question there. And questions can, of course, be answered publicly, or they can also be sent privately as well, depending on the type of answer that you need to provide. So those are two great features that I'm super excited about coming here in March. Another feature that I'm pretty excited about, especially when it comes to finding things in organization, in the WebEx app, myself and my team, we share a lot of documentation, we create slides, we share them with one another. Where do we keep all of that stuff? So I'm just going to go ahead here and get my meeting out of the way. And let's go ahead and bring up my WebEx app. And what I want to go ahead and do here is show you how easily I can go ahead, share my file, of course, here in my WebEx app, but how do I find it? So the way that we're going to enhance how we find our files that we've shared here in the WebEx app is under Content. And if you are using this application, you're probably used to looking for content. It's in your Content tab. It's always going to show what's been shared most recently at the top. But what you're going to find here is we do have a new way of listing the files, and that's in List View. So you're actually going to see here, it makes it easier to find. For me, I see all of the file names. I see that nice little thumbnail screenshot of the file itself, and I can easily scroll through and find it. And this is another thing that we are going to see happening in March. So that's everything I wanted to go ahead and show you real time. I will go ahead and stop sharing my screen now, and I'll pass it back over to Scott.
All right, Claire, thank you so much. To me, that's hugely helpful to see that in action. to see that in real life, right? And I think it's such a powerful feature and capability, and I'm excited to see this continue to grow and to develop, and all the other elements that this is going to enable for communication and collaboration with our employees, and in our global communications. So fantastic, Claire. Thank you so much. Now, so here are a few other different features. Claire actually showed this one in the middle here I want to talk about. So she showed that around some of the new enhancements to that content sharing within the Webex app, right? So when you're communicating with your team and sending messages back and forth to each other, so much of our time is spent working in and together in content, right? We're sharing documents with each other and files with each other. So this ability to be able to much more easily navigate and find those files, to be able to share, review those files, to drag and drop into the space itself, is going to be extremely nice moving forward. So that you're going to see this become available as well in March. Also, from a managing spaces perspective, we've had this ability to have a moderator in different spaces before, and especially in certain spaces. Now what we've enabled, if there are subspaces to that main space or team, that the moderator will have full control and access for all those subspaces as well. So the ability to add or remove certain individuals or delete messages or whatever it might be, that control is extended to the subspaces. And now, as far as from a device pairing standpoint, right, in this new world of flexibility, one of the things that we are seeing and getting asked about is, hey, if I go into a partner office space or a customer office space, they have the Webex room devices in there, how do I easily pair on that guest account? And so one of the things that we're enabling now is this ability to easily pair with whatever device might be in the room, even if you're not on the network, through the device actually sending you a code. I think it's a 7-digit code that is sent, and then you just enter that into your phone, your computer, and then have all the pairing capabilities right there now tethered to that device for audio, for video sharing, and whatnot as well. So some additional things that are coming in the Webex app. Now, speaking of calling, this I feel like calling has is not getting a lot of attention and noise, given all the focus on video, right? Obviously, video has exploded, but calling has also exploded as well. And it's interesting to know how many users and the usage of calling that is happening within the Webex platform. So if you look at this, what we've seen is there's been over 6 billion calls per month on the cloud calling Webex platform, and that is so interesting to see, with 34 million cloud calling users, and that's with the Cisco solutions, with the solutions with our partners, and that is multiple times larger than any other vendors that are in this space. And so that momentum is real, right? And that's kind of our the promise with Webex, being able to connect with people the way you want to connect with people, right? Through messages, through meetings, through calling, and continuing your style of work wherever you are throughout the day. But this also means that there needs to be a greater focus on ensuring that our on-prem customers also take advantage and have the advantage to get access to the features that are happening on the cloud side, right? Cloud first, not cloud only. So this focus on hybrid and a path that leads to the cloud for on-prem customers is critical and important. So I want to spend just a moment talking about the benefits of that and what we're bringing to market in the March timeframe, right? So simplifying the transition to the cloud. We hear this all the time, right? And we are focused on enabling that hybrid transition to happen, right? From on-prem PBX to a native cloud. And so the IT can control that by site or by user to enable full collaboration. So IT can configure these centralized enterprise dial plans, to optimize the on-network call routing. That's important. The trunks and route groups, using the geo-redundant trunk groups, again, across the enterprise, different enterprise sites. The media optimization and centralized calling analytics that you can see and understand the call quality, the usage, all those different elements and features. And this is because of, this Cisco platform that enables you to consume the different types of third-party PBXs or on-prem calling solutions to be able to get access to all the benefits and the feature richness of the cloud calling capabilities. This is a focus for us. We feel we're uniquely positioned in this area, and this is what you see coming out in March. We also have just a couple other expanded calling features to call out. I mentioned the calling analytics and the ability now to bring Webex calling specific analytics into Control Hub to be able to give you the ability to drill down, get the insights you need on the calling adoption, on the calling quality, all right there in Control Hub. We've talked about Control Hub before and the rich capabilities and features that you as an IT administrator can be able to see, and the insights you can be able to gain from that, and having this Webex calling and insight and analytics, that real-time analytics in Control Hub is going to be critical and important. Also, from a Webex app perspective, being able to do on-demand call recording for those UCM customers, and the ability to be able to stop, start, pause, resume those calls in the Webex app. And that can happen even if you're moving from device to device, or transferring from an actual phone or to an in-room device, whatever it might be. That on-demand call recording can continue to happen as well. So that's a couple of different updates from a calling perspective. All right, so let's move now to the smart hybrid work environment that we mentioned before, and specifically around the in-room devices that are in those office spaces and what we are able to do with those devices. We've talked a lot about this and the benefit and the value that this has. Again, returning back to the office, making sure that it's safe, making sure that it's a touchless experience, and making sure now you have all the ability to have the different cloud capabilities and features on those devices, even if those devices have been registered on-prem. So with our Webex Edge for devices, now you can get the ability to consume the native Webex meeting experience. So before, we have talked about the value of Webex Edge, bringing the cloud capabilities to the on-prem devices. And that phase one, that was specifically for IT to be able to manage all those devices, whether they were registered to the cloud or they were on-prem, being able to have that insight and visibility in that management to configure and provision and get those up and running and so forth. In phase two, what we're announcing as part of March is now the ability to extend these Webex meeting capabilities and features for these devices that have been really available for the cloud customers. So things like host control or advanced mute controls, things like facial recognition and name labels, and bi-directional whiteboarding now available for these on-prem devices as they sign up for the Webex Edge services. So again, a Cisco advantage in this hybrid model that we live in and are a part of. And that's going to be available for March. We also spoke a little bit about this concept of Immersive Share back in December at our Webex One event. What we're announcing today is kind of a rollout of this is for those who have the Webex Desk Pro, is this Immersive Share presentation style is available to you on that style of device. Again, to help you have a more engaging experience with your audience, where you are, in a sense, part of the presentation that is being displayed. Your image is on top of the content that is being shared. And so this is what we call Immersive Share, and just the ability to do something a little bit different and engaging with your audience. And that is something that's available now on the Desk Pro. But you'll hear us talk more about this and expanding this out across the different methods, like the different software apps, the Webex app that we have as well. And as far as Webex devices, we wanted to ensure, again, our goal is to have that consistent experience. So the experience you have in the Webex app also is the experience you have on the devices. And that is rolling out with some other features this month to ensure that consistency. So now you have the 5x5 grid within the Room OS, the operating system of these devices. So that advanced layout is now available on these devices. You have the moderated mute capability, the ability for the host to admit all with a single button, the ability for the host to control the hand raising that's happening and call upon them or lower those participant hands if they forget to do it themselves, and noise control. So we talked about the ability to completely remove background noise while also enhancing the speaker's voice, and now that is something that can be done on the Cisco devices, on the DX80 device as well. So we're excited to bring those that functionality and that capability to market. From a frontline worker perspective, we're introducing some new, very rugged, designed for the field wireless phones, the 840 going along with the 860. The 840 is coming available in March. The 860 is orderable now. The 840 is just a little bit smaller of this phone designed for the frontline workers and the ability to have the Webex capability within that device as well. All right, so now we move into the intelligent customer experiences. And really what we want to highlight here is, we talk about the Webex Contact Center and the amazing and great capabilities that it provides. As part of this monthly discussion with you, we want to highlight what's happening as we announced with the IMI Mobile acquisition. And so we'll get into that, but the key thing to recognize here is that now in this new world that we live in, the customer expectations and how they interact with businesses are on the rise, right? People want to see things instantly. They want to get it on demand. They want to be able to transact the way they want to transact. They want to have all the selections and the choices that are available to them. And in a lot of ways, they expect now a premium experience. You see some of these logos and some of these things that have come into the market to further the customer expectations of what they expect when they interact with different businesses. And what's important is to understand the journey, the customer journey that they go through, right? They want to be able to interact with businesses when it matters to them. They want to be serviced in the way they expect to be serviced, in the way they, in their specific, in their way. They want to ensure that every employee that they're communicating within that business is part of the experience that they have. They don't have to restart over and over again, explaining who they are and what they're doing and what help they need for every new employee that they talk to at that business. They want those employees to be able to anticipate their needs. So that means that the whole business needs to have connected capabilities and insight across that entire journey to ensure that they're able to provide that certain type of experience, service-driven, contact center, customer experience perspective, and then from a marketing perspective as well. And what we bring to the table now with this acquisition of IMI Mobile is the ability to have that better insight and into that customer journey and to be able to communicate and interact with them where it matters most. We, in a sense, with this new added capability, call this the customer experience as a service. Businesses can now communicate with customers on the channel of their choice. It's not all voice anymore, right? There's so many different other ways to communicate, and again, the end user expects that. Those end customers expect that, and then to be able to have that information go across the commerce, the marketing, the customer service teams, and then from a perspective of the business, being able to customize this communication platform and do that seamlessly with very low code workflows to orchestrate and automate all those different types of interactions. This is where IMI Mobile is going to create so much new rich capabilities with the businesses that are interacting with their customers, where every interaction is critical and matters. So we announced the closing of the iMyMobile acquisition just a few days ago. We're excited to bring this into our portfolio and create a whole new world of customer expectation and customer experience that you'll see Webex bringing to the market. All right, our last pillar is around the Webex, just the platform, right? With this built-in security, privacy, compliance, and the ability to manage all of this. So there's a few things that we want to go in and talk about here. You've heard us talk about Webex being FedRAMP certified for different elements and aspects of the portfolio. Now, the all-new Webex, everything that's part of Webex, call, message, meet, devices, Control Hub is able to support this FedRAMP certification. And this is extremely, obviously, important from a government perspective. But this is critical, and this is something that has been that is in high demand to have that FedRAMP certification. And so this is available now in March across the entire Webex platform. We've also announced our commitment for even further security around IL4 and IL5. Again, this is for a very small subset of people of the government, for example, the Department of Defense. And so this is something that is critical, and we're going to continue to drive this as well going forward. Something that might be more beneficial to more of you from the IT perspective is, hey, I'm going to be rolling out Webex across the organization. I've heard about Control Hub and all the insight it gives me. That's wonderful and that's great. But how do I even get started? What are the things I need to look for? How do I get help to get this thing rolled out into my organization? So we're introducing this concept of Control Hub as a coach, a getting started guide for you to help you go through and be able to understand and leverage best practices, to navigate through some of the common setups and provisioning of this in a very sequential way. So you can kind of go through the checklist and make sure that you're getting everything rolled out that is critical to you, and then being able to see and understand how this is all being adopted. And so you can look at and see what we call the health of the organization, and be able to see where you sit maybe in comparison to others, but ensuring that you get this rolled out in the best way. So this getting started guide and Control Hub is going to be important. Bring that out into March. Also, the ability within Control Hub to get scheduled reports to run automatically. And so you can set this up to determine your frequency or how often you want to have these reports delivered to you, daily, weekly, monthly, whatever it might be. And you get these reports to show to management or to be able to consume within your team as to how things are being rolled out into the organization. So that automatic report capability scheduling is going to be coming out in March as well. We talked last month about the real-time meeting analytics, which is tremendous and a unique capability in the market. We're now announcing the ability to do video mesh real-time analytics. So especially as people start coming back into the office, being able to understand what's actually happening from a video perspective and the usage of that. So that's coming, and that's going to be great to have that real-time analytics and detailed video mesh analytics also available in March. There is a few other things around the proactive alerts and notification where you can receive alerts and notification on different elements of the network quality. So you can set that up and receive those notifications to you as you go. And then there is a host of a whole slew of other little features that have come out as part of this March announcement. So again, what we want to try to do is highlight to you some of these great new capabilities and features. We can't go through them in detail all at once. But what we encourage you to do is to go out and do a few different things, right? Read the two new blogs that have come out, one from Javed, one from the Webex team, about all the new capabilities and features as part of this announcement and launch. You'll be able to see those also in the help.webex.com pages, and you can get more information there. And we encourage you to go and look at some of the new videos and content pieces that have been created as part of this announcement and launch. You can go find out more information about what we have brought to market. All right, so that is the end of our webinar for today. I see there's been a lot of questions that have been asked in the Q&A panel. I think a lot of them are being answered, but Joe, let me turn it over to you and see if there's any other questions that we should bring up here.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, let's start with the beginning, Scott. The first thing you really talked about was around real-time translations. So a couple came in. One was about accuracy. Basically, hey, how do you guys ensure accuracy of the real-time translations?
Yeah, it's a good question, and again, it kind of stems back around the AI AI capabilities that we talked about. So we have these automated speech recognition engines, or ASR engines, right? And we train those engines on a massive amount of data, right? Of meeting audios and meeting audio of a variety of different accents and pitches, different acoustic environments, all to ensure that data represents a very natural distribution of the translation, right? So all that to ensure that the high accuracy rate. As I mentioned, the more it gets used, the better it learns, and over time, we hope to get it to the point of it's just almost speaking in the normal language that you would. So. This is high level of accuracy already. You'll continue to see that improve with over time as it gets used.
Okay, so the follow-up to all that obviously is going to be, hey, how do I sign up for real-time translations? Is there a trial? Is there a process? How does that typically work?
Yeah, so again, we're announcing the public preview, and so that preview is going to be available. So what I would suggest is is to watch on webex.com. You'll see when this preview becomes available for people to sign up and try and test. So that's going to be happening. For enterprise customers, I would have them reach out to their Cisco sales rep to sign up for this real-time translation trial. And that really will start at the end of this month. So there's some restrictions to the trials, but they'll open up broadly more also when this becomes available or as I mentioned, early summer.
Okay, so let's switch topics just a little bit. You were talking about Webex meetings and some of this Q&A panel stuff. So here was one. Hey, Scott, who can respond to the Q&A panel in Webex meetings? Is it just the host? How does that work? Can you talk more about that?
Yeah, sure. So it's very similar to how it works in events today. If many of you who are attending, right, you can post your questions. And then what we have is a panel of hosts or co-hosts that are signed up to answer those questions, right? So that ability is to answer those questions is only for the host and the co-host, right? So other attendees will not be able to answer those questions. But you can assign up to as many co-hosts as you want to help answer questions as they come in for the meeting that you might be having. So that's how that works.
All right, how about a little bit about Webex Calling? You gave that overview real quick, and then one of the questions popped in. Does Webex Calling support recordings as well?
Yes, it does do that, but it's through the integration that we have with Dubber. So I would ask you again to go out to help.webex.com and look about how to enable call recording in the search bar, and you can get some information about how that integration works and how you can do that with Dubber.
Okay. How about one more? This was kind of, you wrapped up talking about Control Hub. So this one reads, will there be a fee for some of these new analytics reporting features in Webex Control Hub?
Yeah, the answer to that is no. Those will just be part of the standard Control Hub package. So you can get those analytics, those real-time analytics without any additional cost.
Fantastic. I think, Scott, that pretty much does it for the other ones that we wanted to hit upon. There was a lot more specific ones that were being addressed by our Q&A panel team. But I think that's going to wrap it up here. If you have anything else you wanted to say and wrap, other than that, we're complete.
Yeah, thank you, Joe. Thank you, Claire, for the demo. Thanks to all of you for attending these. We hope you find value from these, and we will continue to do these every month going forward, unless there is a virtual event that might be happening. We've got some other events that are coming up with Cisco Live, so we encourage you to pay attention to what's going to be coming out then. And so we'll probably steer most people to those events, those virtual events, to get that information. But we're excited to bring this to you and to highlight this to you. We encourage you to follow and look for other demo sessions or training sessions that you can attend and get more insight to as you look at the offerings that we have across our portfolio. So Joe, with that, thank you so much, and I'll turn it back to you to close it up.
Yeah, fantastic. So, hey, everyone, again, on behalf of Scott and Claire and the entire Cisco team that was on this call helping out, thanks for your attendance and your participation today. Thanks again, everybody. Have a great rest of your day. And this wraps up our webinar today. Take care. Bye now.